Hello, everyone. In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to develop, hackathon management system that is very simple and like very straightforward. I'm going to use make.com, which is like, a platform where you can automate, all these, various business processes, right? So in this tutorial, I will be talking about the hackathon management system, right? So before I demonstrate the system, I'm going to talk very briefly about the concept that I that I want to demonstrate in this tutorial. All right. Okay, so let me. Okay, so I'm going to use like two platforms. One is, your simple the web pages, right? Using the HTML and like, your JavaScript and like, CSS. Like they're very simple, very straightforward, and like, so using the HTML and like CSS JavaScript, I designed a very simple, like super simple hackathon ideas like submission form, right? So the idea is, okay, just forget about like all the like, the foundational steps like registrations, login, that may not be included, but just to demonstrate the idea, the concept, right? So the idea here is like, the users or like students or participants, they can actually submit their like, hackathon ideas, right? So they can include organization, student name, their names, email address, and their hackathon ideas. Like they will just submit it, right? And okay, the process here is like once, one participant like submits the ideas, what will happen here is we will use make.com to automate this, hackathon, process system, right? So the idea here is on the make.com, I'm creating like, a webhook, right? So webhooks is basically the connector between your HTML and the make.com, right? Then whatever like, transmitted the data, you know, transmitted from the HTML page here, right? So I show you before here. So it is going to go to the make.com, right? Then through this connector, which is called webhooks, right? Then I will automate the process here, right? Then I will create a Google Sheets, we call it module here, a Google Sheet here. Then this automation will automatically insert a new submission into the Google Sheet, right? So which is why you should have, a Google Sheet created something like this, right? Before that. Okay, previously it should be empty, but when you are kind of like executing the process, it will be automatically inserting the records into it, right? So that will include like organization, student name, email address, hackathon idea, submission date, and I will talk about these two later on. But for now, you should prepare all these columns and the fields in your Google Sheet, right? Okay, once a new submission is made, or make.com will take care of it, right? To automate the entire workflow, the entire process. Okay, first of all, like, it will insert a new record into the Google Sheet, right? Okay, I want to make this process AI driven as well, right? Even though like make.com is not AI development, but it contains a lot of AI features and the like, capabilities, right? So what I use here is I use like Grok, the platform that where you can connect a lot of like, large language models such as like Llama and many other language models, right? So which is kind of like pretty easy and straightforward to connect to like, the generative AI, the LLM, right? So alternatively, you can use like, Perplexity or like, obviously ChatGPT or Gemini, Vertex. There are many, right? I want you to explore more in the make.com. They offer you like a lot of possibilities here. Okay, so coming back to here, I want to use Grok to determine the submission idea, which is kind of like a preliminary assessment, right? So using generative AI, right, it will, process the new submission, the new idea only, right? Then it will do the preliminary assessment. So the Gen AI will generate like, okay, this should be accepted and well, what is the justification, right? So that can be helpful for the judges later on, right? So using generative AI, right? Um, I will produce like, automatic assessment, right? Including decision and also the justification, right? So which is why I create another a Grok model here, and like, it will definitely like produce the output here. Okay, then after that, what I will do is obviously I need to update whatever results from the Grok, then update it here. Okay, so this is until here. Okay, another one is right. So whenever we receive a new submission from the HTML page, right? So what we will do, right? We need to remind all the like community members. Okay, so here is a new submission, and you go and check it, and you should do like decision, right? So which is why what I want to do here is we have a list of community members, right? So technically, I created a new spreadsheet, call it community members list and stuff. Like it will contain very simple like name, email, and so on. You can make it more complicated, right? But for the sake of the time, I make it short and very simple, right? So what I do here is I will create another Google Sheet like module, and like, extract or like fetch all the information from the community members list, and using another module, another email, I'm going to send an email, right, to all members. Okay, so this is the entire process, right? So we will have the HTML page where students are going to submit their ideas, right? Then this page will hook with this make.com automated process, automated workflow here, right? So it will HTML page will transmit the data to the webhooks, and this automatic workflow will process it, right? So once we receive a new data transmission, it will check, and after that, it will insert a new row into the Google Sheet, right? Then we will call large language model through Grok platform, and like, make a decision, like we'll do the preliminary assessment, right? So that will contain like, the decision and like justification. After that, we will pull all the data about the committee members list and their email, you know, addresses, and automatically send email to them. Okay, so this is the entire process. This workflow will be executed whenever a new submission is made here, right? So this is like what we want to achieve here. Okay, I would say I'm pretty new. I'm still like, learning like make.com, like, I'm just an infant, right? When it comes to make.com. So this process may not be streamlined, right? You can make it like even more like compact and also streamlined, right? So don't worry, you can do further research and like you can make it more streamlined in terms of like processes, the flow and the execution and so on, right? Because like there are a lot of possibilities on the make.com. Okay, we call it like this particular workflow called like a scenario, right? Scenario. So you can create more and more like scenario in the okay, payment required. Don't worry. Okay, so this is what I want to highlight here. Um, so obviously make.com is not free. Like if you have more scenarios that you may want to subscribe it, right? So if you really need make.com, like it is useful, then I suggest you to like subscribe it. But before that, you should play around with all the like possible scenarios, right? So the next one is called like fetch finalist, right? Okay, this is another scenario that I intentionally like create it like separately because I do not want to mess with the previous scenario. Okay, fetch scenario is basically um we have already like the all the submissions are like review and all final results are already made and like there are no more uh new submissions, right? So in that case, what I'm going to do here is basically I will fetch all the data from the spreadsheet here, right? So I will pull all the data out. And what I'm going to do here is I want to display it here, right? Um in the HTML page, right? So I call it finalist.html. Okay, so when I browse this page, right? So it will go to the like this the fetch finalists like scenario again, right? It will plug into the webhooks, right? So that will send the command and it will fetch all the data from the Google Sheet. This is the committee member list, right? After that, right, I want to aggregate all the like list because like you may have more than one, right? So you are fetching into the array. So then after that, what we do is another type of webhooks, right? Webhook response. So what we are going to do is through this webhook we are sending the all the like the return value in like JSON format, right? And it will be all the finalists will be displayed on the HTML here, right? So this is kind of like what we want to achieve as a kind of like a part of the entire scenario. Okay. Okay, the last one is like pretty simple email automation for the results, right? So as I mentioned, right, we have three different scenarios, but in reality, you can combine into one compact, more streamlined scenarios. But for to make beginners friendly, I intentionally separate all the scenarios into like eh, different scenarios, like in a very separate way. But even though they are all connected under one like one big system, right? So this is a very simple basic ideas of like how you can manage the hackathon, the idea submission process, decision making process, and also notification process, right? As you can see here, right? So you will need a very simple web page like to kind of like to do the like the this to make submissions, right? And other than that, the make.com will basically using this automation platform, you can basically like the automate the entire process without needing a single code here, right? So this is all plug and play and like very simple, very like, appealing to me, right? In terms of how they design it, right? Okay, so the email notification or automation for the results is like, again, I will definitely like fetch all the data from the existing sheets and send all the email to the participants here, right? All the participants here, and some may be accepted, some may be rejected, right? So this entire process, you can do it. But what you can do is you can also connect to this scenario from the web page as well. Maybe you may have another form and like you just click on it. When you click a button, it will come to here. You will need another webhook and it will automate the process so that you don't need to actually, submit the email like, individually, right? So this is kind of like how you can streamline the entire process without needing like, a single code here, right? Okay, so this is the idea of the workflow. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to like do the very quick demonstration on it, right? So you will need a lot of like registrations and the account creation in this process, but don't worry, you can do it later on, right? So what I'm going to do here is I will send you the Google Drive link for you to download it, right? So there are two files. One is documentation, so I try myself to like, write down all the steps with the images, the screenshots here, right? So you can follow it, right? So it may not be perfect, it may not be complete, but at least you will get an idea of how you can do it, right? So this is like the documentation that you might want to rely on. The other one is the hackathon test zip file. Just download it so that you don't actually need to write all the HTML code here, right? Then what I want you to hear is like you unzipped the downloaded HTML file, then you're going to see all the like, all the important HTML files and the like scripts, the CSS and so on, right? So the next one is in this tutorial, I'm going to use the replic.com, right? So what you guys need to do here is I want you to create a new like the what do you call that account on Replic, and this is the place where you can play around with your codes and you can host your application, right? So I will give you a very brief okay, so when you come to here, right? Okay, first of all, like you need to create an account, you need to verify your email, and you will come to this page, right? So what I want you to do here is I want you to create a new account on the, sorry, a new rep in the a new workspace, right? I would say on the replic. Um then what I want you to do here is like I want you to create a new template, just the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript because like we don't actually need you know other languages to write it, right? So just create it like public and you should be able to like create a new replic here, right? So again, this is not open source, so you can actually subscribe it, but you have a certain limit to test on the replic, right? So for example, you can create a few workspaces and you can play around with this, right? Okay, the idea here is after like you have already downloaded all the files here, right? So I want you to transfer all the files, uh, except like all these like, fancy technical hidden files, right? What you will need is like, HTML, JavaScript, and like, the CSS, and you transfer all the files to the, okay, once you create a new replic and the HTML template, you won't see all these steps. What you will see is basic indexed script and the styles. Don't worry, we will kind of like override all the files. You just kind of, transfer all the files onto this, platform. the workspace, the project directory, right? Then you are going to see it, right? So what we are going to do is you just click on the indexed file here, right? So index file. So everything is already written here. So when I see like indexed, so this is the index file, right? So after transferring all the files here, right? I just want you to like execute it. So how are you going to execute indexed, right? Then what you can do here is like you can click on the web view, or like you can run it, you can click on the refresh, then like you will be able to see this super simple like the submission form, right? Okay, now like okay, this the workspace will include indexed. This is what we are going to use. Success we are going to use, and the finalist, right? Oh, they are not really connected here, right? Just for the demonstration, don't worry, but you can make it perfect and like more connected later on, right? When you're testing other scenarios. Okay, all good, right? So you are now more or less ready with the HTML file, right? HTML page. But the idea is we need to connect this form with our automation, platform, right? Which is called the make.com, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to demonstrate like how to do it, right? Okay, so sometimes it may take like a bit longer. Okay, so the idea is I'm going to demonstrate this, but oh, okay, I think I still can like create a new scenario, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect this HTML page with my scenario here. So hopefully I can create a new scenario. Okay. So when you click on the new scenario, you're going to see, this page. I'm going to change the uh, hackathon test management system, right? So you just change the name, right? But don't worry. So this is kind of like movable, like you can drag and, playing around with this. What I'm going to do here is I will just click on the plus sign, this big icon, and I will choose the webhook, right? So click on the webhook and click on the custom webhook, right? So this is like how you will kind of like receive the, transmitted data from the web page. So I will kind of like click on it webhooks. So you see it, right? So your very first module or like element here is a webhook, right? Then you click on the create a webhook. This is very important. So if you have like IP, you can change the receive data from the HT index page, right? You can name it anything just to make it clear. So you have IP in restrictions, you can do it here, but for our case, like we won't do it. So you can play around with this. If you're kind of like, you can want to configure it, you can basically play around with all this stuff, right? But if you're using like JSON, like you can do it like, yes, but you can further explore it. But for my case, I just simply create a webhook. Okay, here this is very important. This is the link where you have to hook with your HTML page. So I copy address to the clipboard, and like, I just click OK, right? So the next one is, okay, you already copy the hyperlink URL, then I will come back to the um this page, right? And I'm going to test whether I can, transmit the data. So right here, go to the index page, make sure this is the only place that where you have to basically replace your the URL from the webhook, right? So here I just kind of like copy and paste it here, copy and paste it and save it, right? Then that's it. That's simple, right? So the thing here is I want to basically, okay, I need to save the scenario. Okay, make sure like every time you do changes, you try to save it. So what I want you to hear is I just want to check like, whether HTML page can transmit the data to this webhook, right? So to make it sure, I just want to execute it. Okay, waiting for data, right? So what I want to here is I will come back to this page. I try to save everything. Then I will kind of like refresh it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to um, send or transmit the data. So John, so this is my email, like hackathon idea to design a robot for the elderly, for example. And then I just submit the idea. Then once you submit it on the HTML page, right, it will redirect to the submission successful page, right? So what I'm interested here is, okay, cool. It's very fast, right? You will immediately see the transmitted data. This is like what just I type it in, right? I see John, blah, blah, blah. Then it basically means that boom, you have already done like, the connection, the webhook, right? So this is the first one. Okay, after that, we don't actually need to go back to the like this HTML page after a while, because for a while, because um we need to finish the entire workflow, automation workflow here, right? So this is where you have to start working on the web make.com, right? Okay, so first thing first, it is very cool that like you can connect your HTML page to the webhook here. Okay, so the next one is make sure you receive the data. Otherwise, you have to try it all again, right? Okay, the next one is I need to create more and more elements that will basically tell you like how to process it, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I will click on the another module. Okay, this is important. Okay, before like we are going to create a new like module, I want you to do here is I want you to think about it. Okay, after getting the transmitted data, what you will do, you are going to insert a new record into this page, right? A new record into this page. So initially your spreadsheet should be empty, right? So I told you before, I want you to create a new spreadsheet like hackathon submission list containing all these columns here, right? So these columns are consistent with the HTML page, HTML form, right? But I want you to create two more columns like Gen AI assessment and the final result here, right? So don't worry, what we are going to do is we are going to create a Google Sheet, and that will connect with the hackathon submission list here, right? So just click on the Google Sheets and add a row. There are plenty of like, possibilities. Um, functionalities, but I want to choose add a row because I'm going to insert a new row to the spreadsheet, right? So add a row. Okay, so next here is you need to connect your Google spreadsheet with your make.com, which is pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do here is I have already set up, the Google connection, which is why I can easily choose it. Otherwise, like you have to do it using your Google authentication, right? But it just kind of like click signing in with like Google account, and like you allow you grant the like access permission and stuff, then it should be pretty straightforward unless you restrict your account in a certain way, right? But I believe more or less you will be able to do it. For my case, I have already created account, so which is why I simply choose the account name. Um, then the search method, I just want to select from all. Then what I want to here is spreadsheet ID. It is important that you need to connect this like make.com Google Sheet and your Hackathon submission list file. I will do a very cheat way. What I'm going to do here is I will copy the ID from here. So after this, from here to here, right? So this is kind of like the sheet ID, right? It's a very quick and cheap way, right? Then I will come back here and I will type the sheet ID, and it should be automatically connecting to it, right? Then I will type the name, or even like, automatically connected, like sheet number one. Oh, table contains header, yes, right? So you will see organization, student name, email address, hackathon idea, blah, 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 right? You can ignore all these like, unnecessary columns. What we are interested here is only these things, right? So which is very simple. Like you can connect to your Google spreadsheet, then you need to fill in, and do the matching alignment, right? With each and every cell here, right? So for the organization, I just click on it, right? So it's super simple. Your webhook, it can like, fetch the data. So what I have to do here is do the mapping, right? So organization, okay, student name, okay, email address, hackathon idea, and submission date here, right? So you will see you will see that like there is no submission date, but it is hidden because like sometimes submission dates are pretty important. And these two, we will ignore it for now, but we are going to insert all these stuff for now, all right? Then click OK. So what we are going to do here is we are going to try to execute it here. Execute it here. Okay, so now we have like three rows here. Okay, waiting for the data. So this webhook, it is waiting for the data being transmitted again because that, it needs to get the like, continuous flow, right? So which is why we will try to submit it again from the index page. So this time, submit. So I will create a new lousy idea here and I will submit it, and submission successful. Then once you go back here, right, what just happened within like 20 seconds, it just already executed, right? So you can also check it here like immediately as data arrive. You don't actually need to do anything. Once a new submission is received, it will automatically do it, right? So what we just got here, right? A new submission, IEEE submit. Then what does it do, right? It has automatically like submitted into the, what do you call that, the values here, right? Into insert the new submission, transmitted data into the spreadsheet. So as you can see, a new um record is already inserted here, right? So this is how it fast, you know whenever you don't need to do anything, right? You just connect your web page and your make.com, and whenever a new submission is made, it will automatically, you know, insert it into the like, spreadsheet, right? So that kind of like simple um automation. Okay, do you think it's very cool, right? So all these icon, very interactive, very easy, make.com does a very good job in terms of user interface design. All right. Okay, so the next one is what I'm going to do is, okay, I received the new submission, right? What I want to achieve here is using Gen AI. I just want to, do the assessment, like preliminary assessment. So the idea is like very simple. I will ask like Gen AI to to make judgment, to make a decision, right? That I may want to rely on, right? So I'm going to ask, okay, guys, hey, can you please like make a decision to this, and what is your justification, right? But human judgment is always important, but I will use this one as a preliminary assessment, right? So which is why what I want you to hear, what I want you to do here is like to create a new module with where I'm going to like connect with a large language model platform, in this case which will be Grow, right? So you can use other like popular like platforms like OpenAI, like Vertex, like Gemini and many other stuff. But what I want you to hear is like I will use Grok, right? So to be able to do this, like my suggestion here is you will basically need to like go to the Grok cloud platform and create a new account, and also the what do you call that? Just do it, right? And of course, um, the idea is you need to generate an API, right? So this is like where you have to basically like the generate the API, and you can always like create a new API here, right? So you get it display name and like get the API key, right? But I just want to remind you that like this API key is like very important. It is your private data, so don't share this one with the public, right? Even though I am sharing this, like it's not that secure and safe. So what I want to hear is I will choose a create chat completion. It's kind of question and answer, right? Users are going to ask questions, and like the model, right? The model will answer the appropriate, output, right? So create a chat completion. I choose it, right? Then you need to get a connection here, right? So I have already done the connection because, you know, obviously I created, right? So for your case, you will definitely need a new API to generate, and come back here, they will be asking very simply API key, right? So just do this, and you will definitely need it. If you have any problem, if you face any problem, just do a little bit research, asking GPT or like do a Google research, then that will be fine. But it's very simple. Okay, so the next one is like, I have already done my grow connection here, and you see there are like, many options, right? So you can use like so I used this guy llama, right, versatile, right? Then what I'm going to do here is very simple, right? So connect to one of the gen AIs, and I will ask it, right? Okay, probably you may want to check what. Okay, you can also get all the like the language models from like Hugging Face as well. But for this case, like a simple process, I will stick to the llama. Okay, the next one is very important. If you want to understand the different capabilities of each model, then like you can do further research on it. Okay, for the next one is very important. This is like where I have to like, be a little bit careful. Now, what I'm going to do here is I need to train the model to understand like what kind of task they should do, right? Which is called prompt engineering, right? So I will choose as a role as a system. You can also choose like, assistant and stuff. Okay, the content is very important. So what I'm going to do here is like, I will be passing the submission idea to the content. Then based on this submission idea, I will ask, I will ask the language model to generate, to output the, result. That result should contain like, decision and also the justification, right? So which is why I may want to, I have already written the prompt, so I might want to like copy and paste it here. So what I want to do here is your idea is very important. This is the input, from the submission itself. So what I want you to hear is, as you see, right, I have already written it, right? So this is the prompt. You can be more creative in terms of prompt engineering, like few shot, zero shot, or whatever, right? You can test it, but I just simply like write this prompt. So please evaluate the following hackathon idea, like, then you have to tell the idea. So this idea will come from the webhook. Webhook is like connected with the HTML page. Ideally, this is the value transmitted from the HTML page, you know, specific to the idea, right? So based on the criteria below, like you need to make a decision. Is originality valuable, potential, blah blah blah? Then you respond with like accept. If the idea is weak, like you can do a reject, right? So your decision should be like either like accept or like reject, right? So this is what I want you to do. And I ask like GPT, or sorry, the Gen AI, to like include what do you call that, the justification that will be useful for your preliminary assessment, right? So when you click on this, you will be able to choose the inputs from here. So now what I'm want to do here is more or less pretty much okay. Temperature, like you can design it like how creative it is. You can set like from 0.6, for example. So these are the few configurations that you might be interested. I'm not really sure all these stuff very detailed, right? So I want you to do further research because I'm still learning as well. So okay, just click okay, right? Then what I need here is okay, I will try to receive it because the flow is like it should be continuous, and I will try it again. It's waiting for the data. I will try it again from the page itself, right? So indexed. Johnny and like the Gen AI for health, for example, right? So submit idea, it should be successful. Then you see it, right? It's very quick, very fast. The form will transmit the data, right? Immediately, less than 30 seconds, it will receive the inputs, right? ACM Johnny. It will insert into the hackathon. As you can see it here, then it will come back here. It will access to the Gen AI. Then what will happen? The growth will basically like, generate the output decision to accept. And this is the justification. But being a Gen AI, right, if you need a better quality, then you might want to like you configure your prompt engineering technique. Okay, we are all good, right? Very straightforward. Okay, the next one is, as you can see here, right? Whatever output generated from the Gen AI, right? It should be inserted here. So this is what we are trying to do. So you can play around with this. It's a movable objects. Very cool, right? It's very smooth. And I really like make.com in terms of its functionalities and of course the our user interface design. User experience is super good. Okay, so the next one is I need to create a new module. And again, I will create um a new row, like a new sheet, Google Sheet. Okay, this time I'm not adding a new row. I just want to update a row in the existing rows, right? So which is why I will choose the update row here. Then again, right? You need to connect to the Google. I already have this one, and I will copy the same thing here, right? So D is a document ID, right? Sheet ID. I simply type it here, then it is going to do the sheet name. So you can select it. You can do the mapping here as well. Okay, row number is very important. We have like so many rows. Which row are you going to update? So which is why you need to just click on it. And what you're going to do is you need to like give the indexed, right? So which is why I just add a new row here, right? So this is the same row that I want to update it because this flow is continuous, right? So it will automatically updating. I choose the row number, the table, right, contains header. Yeah, it's okay. So now here, what you're going to do is the values, they are showing like, these column numbers, like, A, B, C, D, E, right? In which column you want to do it, like, for example, F, right? F, I'm going to update it here. So what is the value? The value is from this generative AI, and the value is the result itself, right? So I just drag and drop to the F, right? So I would say that, again, this may not be streamlined, but we still need to explore and further research on how to make the things like more streamlined, right? But don't worry, this is for the like for beginners and like just to be super friendly and to digest the concept, right? So which is why we may have additional steps, but it's good for us. So result, I just put it results, like what else we need to just ignore all this. But the thing is like make sure it connects to the right column here, right? More or less okay. Then I will just okay it, right? Do it. Then I will basically run it again. So I just want to make sure, whatever I do a new submission, okay, indexed. Will it be automatically inserted into the spreadsheet in terms of Gen AI output, right? Okay. I have no idea. This time I will submit like, hackathon idea as I have no idea. This is another type of idea, right? So once I submit it, okay, what's what you got here, the new submission, insert into it. Okay, very good. Yeah, we already get the output, right? So here it will insert a new record. It will ask Gen AI to like create the output, and whatever output generated by the Gen AI, it will basically update it the here right? But the previous one may not be updated here, but we can do it in the another process. But for now, the new submission is kind of like continuous process, right? You receive the data, insert, get the like out Gen AI output, then update the rule. This is the process, which is why it's a new, totally new flow, right? So this is what we have to do, right? So the Gen AI is like good enough, but not 100%, right? So it reject the idea because the idea is not good, right? The idea lacks any substance, originality, or potential. Cool, right? Okay, so the next one is what we are going to do here is, um, after that, what we are going to do here is, okay, we are going to, um, we need to, okay, we have already in the received the new submission. What we need to do is we need to remind all the judges, right? Okay, there is a new submission. Then, you know, you can basically what do you call that? You know, go and check it and do the judgment, right? So this is like what we are going to do. Okay, let me check the previous one. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new instant, which is called like Google Sheet, right? So from this Google Sheet, what I'm going to do is I am going to fetch get range values here, right? So the concept here is once you get a new like submission, you do all these tasks. And what you're going to do is you have an existing list of committee members, right? So we we want to fetch all the list of committee members and then send the reminder emails to them, right? Okay, as I mentioned, there is a new one and you go and check it, right? And you do the judgment. So what I'm going to do here is I create a new Google Sheet and get range values, right? So before that, you need to create this spreadsheet like committee members list, right? Just simply name and email, but depending on like, what you need, right? But for my case, it's super simple. So then I will get it from all and you will need again, right? So this is a easiest and lousiest way to get the ID and like just put it here. Okay, that's simple, right? You can also expand it. Sheet name, you can also sheet number one. The range. Okay, range basically from the like A to all the way to Z. Maybe like Z. You can to make it safe, right? So yes, A1 to A2, oh B2. Okay, what else? No, we just want to get, the data, the fetching the data from the um existing spreadsheet here. So I'm checking like, you will definitely need whenever you're adding like a new, module, more or less you will need, connection. If you already created one, like you don't need to do it again. You don't need to repeat it again. Just simply choose it, right? So click OK. It seems like okay to me, like, but let me know uh if you have any problems so far. Okay, so Google Sheets, like get range. Okay, we are done. Okay, what is the plus the one icon here? It's basically means like one data, like, one processed, one execution, right? So the next one here is like, I'm getting like range values here from the spreadsheet and like, Okay, you can run the module individually as well. I don't want to repeat all the step here because the list is like nothing to do with the external one, right? So I just want to fetch the data from the existing spreadsheet. So I just right click and run this module only. Okay, cool, right? So what are the outputs? The output contain like, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Underwood here, right? Why? Because we only have two members here, right? So we can successfully fetch or retrieve or pull the data out of the spreadsheet, right? Okay, so the next one is pretty simple. What we are going to do here is we are going to send the reminder email to everyone, right? All the committee members. So I just click on this and I choose send email. Oh no, it's an email. Send an email right here. Okay, again, this is a little bit tricky part because like depending on the email service provider that you're using. So if you're using like a Google or like a Gmail or like other mail, like you need to do some kind of configuration, right? So I have selected like Microsoft SMTP and maybe blah blah blah. You can use like Hotmail or like Outlook. Is it or my experience here is like is pretty straightforward and like less restricted, but when I tested on like Google, you need to configure a lot, like you need to change something on the Google Cloud, cloud platform, and you need to do a lot of like setting and configuration, which is kind of like pretty confusing and pretty not really straightforward, but you know it's always good to like test. But for my case, it works perfectly fine with Outlook and the Hotmail, right? Which is why I chose this one. In my case, I have already, you need to go through the authentication process, right? But in my case, like, I have already created one. So, you will see this, right? Okay. So the next one here is the add a recipient. This is very important. Adding a recipient, right? So without email addresses, you will get the error. Where I can get it? I can get it from the get range values here, right? I pull out all the email here. So I just simply put it here. So subject is kind of like new submission a lot, right? Submission, this kind of email subject. What do you want to do? Content type, right? So what I want you to do here is I would just simply copy and paste from my previous scenario that will make my life a lot easier, right? So I just want to like create the email body, right? Message body to be HTML so that it will be like it will be like nicer, right? So I will make it bigger. So I created a simple HTML file. Then the name here is like it should be the name, right? But to make it safe, like because I just copied from the previous the scenario. So what I want you to hear is the name is here. You are fetching the data, the committee member name. I will type it here, dear blah blah blah, right? And like a new hackathon submission has been received. We kindly blah 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 organization. So this is the submission information, which is pretty simple. I just okay, I think like the okay, I don't need to change anything like organization name, idea, and the reset. Okay, what is this reset? Reset is from the Gen AI, right? Then it should be all right. It's more or less the same. So the idea is you need to do the mapping between the values here and the one that you fetch from the spreadsheet, right? So it is very important to do the mapping, right? So I click OK, and hopefully it works here. So I will try to run execute once, but I'm not sure like how it may not. Okay, the existing data may not work. So immediately as data arrive. So what I do here is, okay, okay, very important to do the changes because I have a similar incident. I didn't save and I lose my data. Okay, so go back to home and like, I will try to submit again. Okay, I just submitted a new idea and go and see it here. Okay, receive the what it is doing is sending email now, right? Sending email. Okay, one is already sent and two is already sent here, right? So, um, okay, the webhook will receive the data. It will insert a new row. The Gen AI will kind of like generate the output and it will update the row here, right? So this is a new row. It's a reject. Okay, I'm still thinking, okay, sorry, reject. And then we will fetch the data, get range of values, then automatically send it, right? So I will check my email here, but I won't show it on the um screen. Okay. Okay, so this is like to my email, right? So dear Mrs. Underwood, like a new hackathon submission has been received. Blah blah blah, right? A little bit odd in this what do you call it, the CSS, but don't worry, at least I received the email, right? So both committee members should have received the email, right? So this is the entire scenario for this particular workflow, right? So the idea is the to recap, right, the idea is the students will submit a new idea, then it will receive by the webhook on the make.com, right? Then it will transfer the values to the Google Sheets and insert a new row here, right? Then after that, it will call Gen AI to generate the outputs to do the preliminary assessment. Then it will update the row, something like this, right? Then after that, it will fetch all the committee member list from the email, right? Then it will send email to the every committee member in the list, right? So this is like what we want to achieve as like scenario one, right? I hope it will help. It will help. And the other one is, as I mentioned, right? You can download this document from the Google Drive. Okay, I still have like two more scenarios, like, but I will be very quick on it because you already got the idea of how you will get it. So the next, okay, make sure you save it. Okay, the next idea is like scenario two. Scenario two, maybe like I won't demonstrate it, but I will explain it using my old data, right? Okay, fetch finalist, right? So I create a new scenario. The idea of like, fetch finalist, what does it do? What does it do here is like, very simple. Okay, this is a little bit, you know, you can actually do this process to be automated as well, right? But the idea is, okay, we will omit or we will hide this part in this automation process, right? So final result is basically all the committee members here, right? Mr. Smith and Mrs. Underwood, when they receive the email, what they will do is they will come and check the submission list, and also they will check like, maybe they can do it together, for example, right? But this part is more like manual work, right? Rather than automated work, right? So they will review the Gen AI assessment and like, they will do the discussion and they will make final judgment, right? Okay, accept, reject, accept. Okay, so I was remove this two part. to make it clean. And okay, reject, 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 right? Okay, so this is kind of like a part of manual process. All the judges, like they have already made like decisions, right? So what I want you to hear is like, I want to do the like, the similar like the concept, right? So whatever I have made here, right? So the finalist, what I want you to hear is, what I want to do here is to display it on the website, right? So whenever like, um the date is like, arrived, people can, the students can come to this page and check the finalist. Okay, whether they make it or not, right? So this kind of pretty limited data, but like you can add more and more data, but I just want to demonstrate the concept. So to achieve this, what I do here is basically I create a webhook here, right? So the same procedure, the same thing. You need to connect this webhook URL with your the HTML page here, right? So finalist, go to the finalist page, right? Then use copy and paste your new webhook, right? Not the previous one, because we are now creating a new scenario, right? Then again, right, you already know you need to fetch all the information from the existing spreadsheets. This time it will be hackathon list, all right? You fetch it, make sure you do all the setting and the configuration. Okay, this time I show you another like important like interesting like element, or like module, which is called array aggregator, because like you will have like so many lists. For example, if you have like 100 teams, like how you're going to do it, in that case you will need an array aggregator, right? So array aggregator, you just click, when you add a new module, you just choose array aggregator. Super simple. You link this one to your Google Sheet, and it is going to show all the like variables, like values, and you choose the one that you think is all right. You think is you want to show it, right? So for now, for the sake of time, I only choose like three, right? Okay. Then the thing is, okay, this time is a little bit different. You need to add. So this webhook is kind of like to receive the transmitted data, right, from the web page. Okay, this webhook here is, you have to choose the webhook response, right? This time response, because from the make.com, it will be responding to this page, right? Responding to this page. It's kind of like travel to and from, and we have to use a different webhook here. So this is the webhook response. What you are going to do is, you just get the array from the array aggregator. Your content type, you should headers, because you are like replying back with the JSON or data, right? JSON data. So in that case, what I'm going to do here is like content type application JSON, and so on, right? So if you want to test here, I will copy this one and I will check what kind of information it will be back. So if as you can see here, right, you will see a list of JSON here. So it will be returned back to your um, HTML page, and your HTML page will capture all the written JSON values and change it to your like into HTML format, right? So this is that simple. So what I want you to do here is, I just want you to create all this like business process workflow and test it, right? So to recap, you need to link your HTML finalist page with the webhook here, and you create a new Google Sheet, and you fetch all the data, and you kind of like create a new array aggregator, and also like you create a new web response. So whatever response like containing JSON values, as you can see it here, will be going back to the like finalist teams, and it will display all this stuff. So this is like pretty straightforward, right? Okay, the last one is like another scenario, which is save changes of cost. Uh, the last one here is okay, email authentication for the reset. Okay, actually, I can combine all these things into one, but for the sake of simplicity, I separate into three different scenarios. So what I want you to do here is very simple. This one will not connect with the like the web page, right? So what I'm doing here is I create an automated process. Idea is very simple. I want to submit and reset email to all students here, right? Regardless of their outcome, right? So I'm going to automate this process. For example, if I have like 100 submissions, how can I do it, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm going to create a process that is automated to send email to all the senders, right? All uh, the students, all the participants. Very simple, just Google Sheet, right? Get range of values. You can use the array as well, but for simplicity, I skip this part, but array aggregator is very good. And I just send email to everyone, right? Then I create a HTML here. So this is like very simple part, right? So maybe I can execute it for the demonstration part once. Okay, I have already executed this part. I'm sending email to everyone. One, sending into another. One, two. Okay, we have a lot, right? Sending email to another one. Three, sending email to another one. Four, five. It's quite a lot, right? Okay, all good. 5 emails have been successfully sent. And let me check whether I receive it or not. Okay. It may take a few seconds to receive the new email, right? But it's okay. We can definitely wait for it. Okay, I got the hackathon result here. So as you can see it here, hackathon result, right? So these are all my previous testing. So dear AP, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all good, right? Okay, so this is all about it for the entire demonstration. So to recap it here, so I try to automate the hackathon or idea submission, processing, and decision making process to be streamlined, right? Using make.com and using the simple HTML pages, right? So I try to connect with these two, like how to exchange the information, how to connect it from your website, right? So this is pretty easy and straightforward. It may not be perfect, but I believe as a beginner, I'm also still a beginner to this. I love to explore more. So my suggestion here is like I want you to explore more, make.com and other like similar tools, like because nowadays zero code, no code, low code concept is like pretty popular and it's pretty enjoyable, right? So that's about it. Like if you have any like you know if you have any feedback, like just leave your comment below, right? And thank you so much for your time, and hopefully I will create more tutorials in the future. Bye.